Have you ever noticed something strange about arguments? Sometimes the person with the better facts loses, and the person with the weaker argument somehow wins. Why? Because winning an argument isn't about being right. It's about psychology. In fact, most people lose arguments before they even open their mouth. But today I'm going to show you 6 psychological tactics that can instantly flip the odds in your favor. And the last one? It's so powerful that once you use it, people will start agreeing with you without even realizing it. Most people think arguments are battles of intelligence, so they try to win by throwing facts, statistics, and logic at the other person. But here's the problem. Humans are not logical creatures. We're emotional creatures that pretend to be logical. When someone feels attacked, their brain goes into defense mode. And once that happens, they stop listening. It doesn't matter how correct you are, they will fight you just to protect their ego. So if you want to win arguments, you must stop trying to defeat the person and start trying to control the conversation. The first tactic is simple. Stay calm sounds obvious, right? But it's incredibly powerful. When someone gets emotional and raises their voice, and you stay calm, 2 things happen instantly. First, you look more confident. Second, the other person starts to look irrational. Psychologically, people trust the person who appears more in control. So while they are shouting, you simply respond slowly. Calm voice, relaxed posture, and suddenly, the entire room feels like you're the one winning. Here's a secret great debaters understand. Questions are more powerful than statements. When you make statements, people argue. But when you ask questions, people start thinking. For example, instead of saying, "You're wrong," try asking, "Why do you think that's true?" Now, the pressure shifts. Instead of defending yourself, they must defend their idea, and the more they explain, the more likely they are to expose weak logic themselves. You didn't attack them. You simply let their argument collapse on its own. This tactic feels counterintuitive, but it works almost every time. Before you disagree, agree with something first. For example, "That's actually a good point," or "I understand why you'd think that." This does something very important. It lowers their psychological defenses. They stop seeing you as an enemy, and once their guard drops, they become much more open to hearing your perspective. Ironically, sometimes the fastest way to win an argument is to stop fighting. Here's a trick negotiators use all the time: silence. After someone finishes making a strong claim, but don't respond immediately. Just pause, look thoughtful. Humans are extremely uncomfortable with silence. So what happens? They start talking again. And when people keep talking, they often begin contradicting themselves. You didn't interrupt. You didn't argue. You simply gave them space to weaken their own argument. The real secret to winning arguments is controlling the frame of the conversation. The frame is the perspective people use to judge the issue. For example, 2 people can argue about the same topic, but whoever controls the frame controls the outcome. Instead of arguing about details, shift the conversation to principles. Instead of debating who is right, ask what solution is most reasonable. When you control the frame, you control how the argument is judged, and suddenly, the odds start tilting in your favor. Now here's the final tactic, and it's the most powerful one. Let them win a little. Yes, sometimes the smartest move is allowing the other person to feel like they won something, because arguments are rarely about truth. They're about ego. If someone feels completely defeated, they will resist your idea forever. But if they feel respected, they're far more likely to accept your perspective later. In other words, winning the relationship is more important than winning the argument. So if you remember nothing else, remember this. Winning arguments isn't about shouting louder. It's not about throwing more facts. And it's definitely not about humiliating the other person. The real secret is understanding human psychology. Stay calm. Ask questions. Agree first. Use silence. Control the frame. And protect the other person's ego. Master these and you'll notice something interesting. You won't just win more arguments, you'll start having fewer of them, because people will begin to see you as someone worth listening to. And that is the real power.